Hi guys, good morning everyone. As usual, it's a new Monday and a new week and an awesome you. Okay, so I gave you guys a sneak peek yesterday when I went live that this week I'm gonna work, uh, you know, on your mindset. And like I tell you guys last month, the world we're used to is dead and gone, and we weren't informed. And some of us, we are still living the quality of life we lived like past years. And with this new life, we need a new frame of mindsets to actually run with it. If we need to change our lives, change the ways we think about things, and change the way things move around us, we need to roll with this new world. So today with me, I have my able. And the good thing about the person I have today is the passion he has about making sure that everyone around him succeed in whatever they are doing, especially in the business industry, because he's very passionate about it. Apart from being a family man, a father to his own daughter, which is a present dad, and I give you kudos for that, Coach Raza. His dream is to inspire and help as many people as it is that wants to move in this new era that we are in. So let's hear from Coach Raza this morning. Okay, Coach Raza, over to you. Tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I mean, I think you summed it up very well. I gotta say this, Sonia. I mean, that was one of the best introductions I've had. Thank you so much for having me here. But in addition to what you've already said, like I always say this to people, because when you see somebody who's invited, you're speaking online, and you're a special guest, sometimes you may have a different filter about them, how you listen to them and everything. I want you to understand something about me for, Sonia, you and everybody else who is watching this, is that life was not handed to me on a silver platter. I come from a broken household. My mom and dad, they divorced in back when I was 20, 21. And I wasn't that great at school. I barely got out of school. I had a huge amount of debt by the time I got out of school. Not only just the school debt, fees and everything, but also crazy debt, because apparently in college they just give you a credit card. And yeah, so and I really started, backwards in my adult life. And to the point, I mean, in my adult life, I always say this: I've had a bank account of $100, and that doesn't go too far. So just this is who this is the all that is what has made me who I am today. And over the past 10, 12 years, I think there's been one advice that has been stuck with me from one of my mentors. And because, I did about 13 or 14 years in the corporate world, and then I decided I'm just going to, become an entrepreneur. And that didn't go too well. I fell flat on my face. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why I couldn't make anything work. It's like people were being successful at everything that I was doing, but I was not finding success. And I think at the beginning, Sonia, you said it right. I mean, it's time to change. It's time to think differently. It's time to do differently, because the world outside has changed. And a lot of times we don't change, and we just want to stay the same. And that's where the problem lies. And this mentor of mine gave me an advice about 10 or 12 years ago. And he said to me, he said, Raza, you're trying too hard to figure things out. He said that someone out there has already done what you want to do. So instead of trying to figure things out, find that person or find that group of people who can share a blueprint with you. And then your job is just to do the blueprint, not think about it, just do it. And today, that's been a formula that I've used pretty much everywhere. Health, fitness, relationships, business, professional career.
When you said like you moved from the corporate world to the entrepreneur world, what really inspired you? Like at one point in your life, did you say, okay, I think I'm done with the corporate world. I'm moving into entrepreneurship?
I'll tell you that's a funny story because my wife and I, I mean, I chased my wife like no tomorrow. Like, I mean, she was not giving me time of day, right? Like, it took me like 3, 4 months just to get her attention. And then finally, when I married her because I wanted to spend time with her. But the fact of the reality was she had a job, I had a job, and we would both wake up at like 6, 7 a.m. in the morning. We would leave for work, and then by the time we come home, it's like 6, 7 in the evening, and we would have dinner, and then it was time to go to bed, and then we get up again and we do the same thing, and over again. Weekend rolls around, we get busy doing chores and everything like that, and then that's it. The weekend is done, and then we do the whole thing over again. And I thought to myself, I'm like, who sold me this plan? Because this is not working out for me, right? But yet everybody was plugged into the same system. So I started asking questions of everybody. I'm like, hey, what do you do? How do you take vacations? It's like, well, you take vacations when you can, like, a week, 2 weeks, whenever they say that you can. I'm like, okay, well, no. How is that possible? I mean, like, is my purpose in life to be working 8 to 10 hours a day? I mean, that was a question that I was starting to ask because that's what everybody was doing around me. And so a buddy of mine handed me a book. He's like, Raza, you look like the kind of guy who should read this book. He's like, I kind of tried to read it, but it's not my cup of tea, but you should read it. And I got that book, and possibly that book, gave me a new mindset. And that's what planted the seed of being an entrepreneur. And that book was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And it was that day, and just I finished that book in a week, and I never looked back. So that was the beginning.
Your story like is way opposite of mine. My dad was an entrepreneur, so I grew up with that mindset. So even though I was very fixed on my career, I always have something I'm doing by the side at any point in time. Like
Yeah,
I literally remember back in the high school, I was selling stuff to my friends, to make money. Even when I got married, in my corporate work, I didn't still mind. I was still selling stuff. Sometimes my colleague is like, "Oh, your husband is doing this," but you're still. I'm like, I just find fulfillment in doing it. You know.
nice.
So when I moved to Canada system, you literally had to like integrate, go back to
Hmm.
school, Canadian
Hmm.
experience. I changed my career. I went into nursing school, and I was so excited, and boom, I was hitting it every morning. I'm off, and I got my own reality check from my 7-year-old daughter
Yeah,
that called me one day and said, Mom, is the way you walk the way all adults walk. If this is how all adults walk, I don't want to be an adult.
wow.
You know, that literally struck me. I started asking her, like, but I need to work hard to, like, all the things you want me to get for you, the expensive toy. She's like, no, she wasn't really looking up to me, my career as what she want to do, because
Yeah.
she literally feels we don't have a life. Your life is just, no fun,
Hmm.
nothing. And I
Hmm.
started looking for something to do. Like I asked myself, where is that entrepreneur mindset you grew up with, right? I literally
Hmm.
just dump everything and I'm off and going, And that day I was just tired because of what she said. I was barely there. My husband was the
Hmm.
one going in for all the school activities. He was doing all the school runs, and I was
Yeah.
floating. Like
Yeah.
how excited I dragged myself out to the coffee to get to work, come back in the evening. Like she already know when I'm gonna come back. And sometimes if I'm not in at that time, she's calling my phone.
Oh,
You know, when she told me that, that's when
oh
it
my
dawned on
God.
me like this is not the life your children is gonna have with
Wow.
you.
And how
You
old
know,
is she? 7?
7, yeah. So I asked her, what do you want to be in life? Man, what she told me as a parent, I'll have to literally pray about it. But I think about it on a second thought. Their school system, like the first thing is self-discovery before the maths and the English. And that wasn't how I grew up in my own school, like school days. But here, the first teach them to discover themselves. The next is the maths and the English comes. So she have already, they have 7, few that she has discovered her purpose, like what she's going to do when she grow up. Well, I
Mm.
was on the phase that was moving and shifting grounds. So that very day, it was more like the opportunity is right here. You need
Mm.
to take that step. And that is it for me. And when I
Yeah.
came in, I haven't had any reason to look back or to
Yeah.
tell myself it's not the right thing to do. Because in the place of this, I found my purpose, I found my confidence, I found like everything it takes for me to build a life my children will want to see in the future
Mm,
and the life they want to see now because I'm present in their lives. So moving like pro to you being an entrepreneur and going to business world and online, do you ever have experience working online, social
no,
media and all
no,
that?
no, no, no. I know. I mean, I've had like social media, like profiles, like, Facebook and Instagram and all of that stuff, but I wasn't using it for business, or I didn't know how to use it for business and all of that stuff. I all that those things I have to learn and continuously learn because social media changes very fast.
Yeah,
The good thing is we have in-house training, and I'll tell you that training is just worth tens of thousands of dollars, and it's better than a university degree because it's very practical
yeah,
and it's relevant, and it's not meant for just knowledge only. It's meant for execution. And that's the difference in that training. So no, there was no prior experience in that arena.
yeah. I've been in a meeting where you were so passionate about people working on the way they think, their thinking
Hmm.
process,
Yeah.
your mindset, how you approach your business life. And you always say like it took you time to actually realize you needed to be present in your family life.
Hmm.
I have some parents out there who, with all the responsibility they shoulder, their kids, they have to provide, they want to change. They want to be present. But having everything going on in their life isn't letting them like strategize. You know, I have a lot of them like call me on the phone, like, what's the business about? But taking the next step or taking action
Yeah.
is something that they really haven't gotten that hold of. Like,
Yeah.
as a father, like, how hard or how easy was for you to take action when you wanted to start your own business?
Um, that's a good question. Um, so, I've tried many businesses in the past. You know, it wasn't really. I don't know if I want to say it was hard for me to try. I think everything in life is just hard. Going to job is hard. Working 8 to 10 hours is hard. You know, getting married, staying married is hard. Raising kids is hard. So I just don't look for easy anymore. So it's not even a qualifier anymore of looking for things to be easy. I don't think that it really exists. At least in my world. So I don't think it was easy to make the transition, but I was very quick in making the transition, meaning that I would take action really quickly because I realized that I need to make mistakes. And and a lot of times we live life thinking that we will never make a mistake or we
Yeah,
should not make a mistake. And I think mistakes are just byproduct of success, or failures or setbacks are just byproducts. Like these are just things that happen along the journey. And actually, I think the biggest thing that I have to work with new entrepreneurs with is just letting them be okay with the setbacks. I think when as soon as we get setbacks, we start beating ourselves up and we get down on ourselves and it's like, oh, maybe this is not for me. But yet that is just how entrepreneur life is. Um, that's how life is, period.
yeah, yeah,
Right? I'm sure in the past, business or no business, you have had, setbacks in relationships. You must have had setbacks in school. You must have had setbacks at your work and all of that stuff. That doesn't mean that you're not cut out for it. That just means that there are things to learn, and then you learn from it and you grow and you move on. And that's what this is over here as well. You know, I always say this, Sonia, that nobody has to do a business. You don't need to do a business. You can be happy at your job, and that's fine. But the question that you really want to ask yourself is that in this day and age, when the world moves so fast, and gas prices and house prices and grocery prices and everything like that. Like, things change so fast. Take a track record of the past 10 years, 15 years or so. Why is it that when it comes to making our money, we take the slowest path possible? And the world changes like at a speed of light, and our incomes increase every year with 2% increases in our wages and all of that stuff, right? So we're not even keeping up with times. So that's why most people are feeling the cringe and the pressure of the economy and all of that stuff. I was reading this book. Yeah, I have it right here. This book is titled "The Way of the Intelligent Rebel." And in this book, the author talks about that a lot of people sometimes don't even look for ways to be effective. And there are effective ways of doing things. Effective means that you can be efficient with your time. When it comes to making money, most of us are raised and taught the idea of salaried employment. But salaried employment, according to this book, is one of the least effective ways possible that you could make your money. And why that is because you're exchanging your most precious commodity to get the dollars, your time.
Mhm.
And that is all we know. That is all that we are taught. That you want to make money, you sell your time. You want to make money, you sell your time. And it is time that we lose experiencing the world, our kids, the things that are important to us and all of that stuff. And that's why having a new mindset to keep up with this world is what's needed. I'm not saying that I was successful right off the bat, or that you will be, or anybody else would be. I think it's a journey that you need to go on, because it took you it took you years to build that mindset of being a salaried employee, or being in an employment. You trained for, you went to college and you went to university and all of that stuff to be able to do that. This won't take you that long. That's the good news. And it won't cost you as much as university education. so, so definitely there is a better way, and being on a quest for that better way, that is what an open mind does.
Speaking of university degrees, I tell someone yesterday, if only our lecturers, our professors tell us that, oh, you're not going to even make use of the certificate you're acquiring for this year. You won't even, venture to do those courses. But they didn't tell you all that. I tell someone that university degree actually gives you like the common sense.
Yeah,
Some of those things are just, they don't teach us the skills on how we make money, on how you manage the money. That's one of the things that actually sold out for me in this business. Having learned how to start my own business, run my own business, have the mindset of a 6-figure, 7-figure earner, because it takes wisdom to
yeah,
manage such money. You don't just wake up and you have those things dump on you and you don't know what to do with it. you know
that's right.
you're just gonna be running around like a rat without a tail. It builds you to be a CEO, and a better one at that. It cuts across you, not just thinking about yourself, you're earning money. Oh, of course, that's something you actually want in the first place. But you evolve beyond you being a 6-figure or whatever earner, to you having the passion and the zeal to make sure everyone around you experience such thing.
Yeah.
And that really what excites me about the business. Like these days, my husband like, I've not seen you this happy before. I'm like, you don't understand. You know what it means to become your own boss, your own CEO, and have people you meant to succeed. You will know the excitement, a new way of thinking, a new you,
Yeah,
evolve from you. You're from the past trying to get things going with yourself. Your life is not, the quality of your life, you aren't enjoying it, to you enjoying not just your life,
yeah,
people around you are enjoying that life, and you are imparting people you literally don't even know from anywhere.
yeah.
That for
So
me
true.
was the beauty of it. And
Yeah,
I asked someone yesterday, because the person asked me a question, how am I sure I'm going to succeed in this business? And I asked the person, in 1 minute, are you okay where you are? If your desire to change is way more than that fear or that doubt, you won't even have time to wait for someone to convince you to do something, because you are like literally going to run off and
Yeah.
chase what you want. How deep do you want a change? So quickly, let's
So
talk to
true.
people now that wants to change mindset, holding down a lot of excuses. Because yesterday I shared about excuses, right? Why we always embrace it to kind of, sit on the fence. We always hold on to it. We have a lot of things. Oh, no time, the kids,
No money,
my
no
work.
time, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you tell someone with all those excuses filled up, but needs a change? Desperate.
Yeah. I always say to people, it's okay to say no and just be straight. Because when you use things like, I don't have time, I don't have money, I don't have, the knowledge, I don't, know how to do this, and all of that stuff. I'll tell you, time, contacts, money, knowledge, all these things are resources, right? Resources, right? Like money is a resource. When you say, I don't have that, therefore I can't do this. So indirectly, you are saying you actually want to do this, but you are holding these things are holding you back. So Tony Robbins is a great performance coach for many, many, many big entrepreneurs and business owners around the world. And there's an advice that he gives. He says that a lot of times when opportunities show up for us, whether it shows up for you, Sonia, whether it shows up for me, or whether it shows up for anybody that we are working with, the opportunity is always going to be bigger than you.
Mhm.
Okay. So even if when an opportunity shows up for me, it has to be bigger than me. That means it will demand more of my time,
Yeah.
more of my money, more of my contacts, more of my resources, right? So it doesn't matter who it is. When an opportunity shows up, it demands more of you. So at that time, if you start saying, or I start saying, oh, I don't have the money, I don't have this, it just simply says that I don't have the resources. Most people, when the opportunities show up for them, do not have the resources. So the skill is not that, everybody who's doing this business already has the resources. No, that's not it. There is a key skill that is needed in this century, and that is the skill of being resourceful. There's a difference between already having resources and being resourceful. And I think learning to be resourceful is what is needed in this day and age right now. Expanding on more time, trying to be efficient with your time, expanding financial resources. I mean, there are a multitude of different ways. Sometimes people are like, well, I don't have the time. How do I make time? Like, if I sit down with you, I can definitely give you ideas on how you can carve out an hour to 2 hours in your day to build this business. I've had way too many stories of people who have a full time job, who have kids, who have a part time job, and built this business. Right. So there are a multitude of case studies. The only thing will be whether you will do it or you won't do it. So the responsibility is on you, not on the resources, right? So that is a sense of responsibility that you take. So my message to those people is really, you can say that, yes, I'm in, I want to do this, and I just have to figure out my resources. Here's my plan. Here's what I am looking to do, right? Instead of just kind of putting a cross on whoever you've been praying to, God, universe, energy, has put something in front of you, and you are putting a cross on it and rejecting the idea by leaning on no resources. This opportunity was not put in front of you, you know because you already had the resources. No, you have to stretch. And I think in anything that has to grow, stretching and putting pressure on it is extremely important. I'll end by saying this. Steve Harvey has been quoted saying this, that success is a very uncomfortable undertaking. And I don't mean success just in business. You talk about success in anything, in marriage, in raising kids, in going to the gym, following a healthy nutrition plan, anything. Success is a very uncomfortable endeavor. So the question is, are you ready?
Okay, guys, I'm not gonna add any more things here. So, guys, let me know where you're watching, and if you're gonna watch a replay, comment below and send in any questions. Okay, feel free. I always tell people is open, right?
Yeah.
The only thing holding you back, or maybe you watching this and you're not able to come out from where you are, is maybe because you've not asked that in-depth question of yours. So if you're going to watch a replay and you feel like you have lots of things to ask, feel free to reach out and ask your question. And remember, it's a new week and a new you. Guys, have an amazing week and make sure you crush all those goals. Remember, if you have a vision, the only variable is you. And go out there and make it happen. Have a blessed week. Thank you, Coach Raza.
Thank you for having me. Bye.